Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to this program. Tonight, we'd like to talk about the Kasukuwere bid to join the rat race. His bid was taken to the High Court. The High Court said, no, he shouldn't stand. And they appealed that and to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has also said, has upheld the High Court's decision. Welcome to the program, Ben.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. Good evening, good morning to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us.
What do you think of this saga of Passenger 34?
Well, for me, I knew it was quite obvious. I think it was a blunder from his part that if he should have known better to that extent to say that he was supposed to be, first of all, coming back into the country for a certain period. Is only allowed a certain period to be out of the country, and then should be in and out. And he could have just simply just had maybe his passport stamped just to show he's in Zimbabwe, but he didn't do any of that. So by law and by our constitution, he had no case to present, and him citing that he was sick and have no medical report whatsoever. That was I don't know what he was expecting, and I think he had really no chance, and now he wants to continue with the fight. Well, I think the outcome is still the same.
I think what I find interesting in this one is the grounds for his appeal. That the High Court judge was compromised because he had received a gift of a house from the ruling party. The funny part of that appeal is that he should have known that all the judges and magistrates have all received a similar gift. It was in the papers on the 6th of June that judges had received up to 400,000 US dollars worth of housing loan, a loan which they never solicited for, and a loan that you and me know is given by government, not by the bank, and therefore then they're not going to repay it. And he's appealing to the Supreme Court with judges that also receive the same gift. It's laughable. It's a circus,
Yes, it's truly.
Now,
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, obviously, citing that day was just. I have no reasons, but I just have to jot down something and and send it to the next level, or in terms of the hierarchy of courts. And for me, I think for me, he should have known better because he was in the system for a very long time. So, he should have known this is how our system works. We created this system, and it hasn't changed because he refused that, reforms should be put in place. So by him being part of it, he should have known better. And here he finds himself. That's we used to work together. Now we are enemies of the state. You see, this is how it works. I don't know if others believe in karma, but well, this is how it works.
I like that cartoon. There's no menu. You get served what you deserve.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. In his glorious days, he is the one who was saying he doesn't want the law, there's no need for justice, this and that, and so forth. And
Yes, he
now,
found it very fair. He found it very fair. You know, our justice system is very, very fair. You don't find any other than in Zimbabwe. That's what they all used to say. You know, now it's all against him. Now he's saying they're all captured. Well, you're one of the guys that created the system. Now that you know he's on the receiving end of the stick, it's a bad system. You know. So yeah, it what goes around comes around, they say. So here we are. But I think in all honesty, I think he had no case. He was just trying to just fight when he had no he's got no his case lacks merit or content. I think that the judges made the right call for that.
well, I think in terms of the law itself, I would say it's typical of Zanu PF being selective, the judiciary being captured. This is the judiciary, we shouldn't forget, that ruled after the 2017 military coup, that the coup was legal, justified, and constitutional. Now, if you can rule that a military coup is legal, justified, and constitutional, surely a citizen of the country being out of the country and deciding that he wanted to participate in the election, to say that you're applying the law and he has broken the law, I find it absurd, to say the least. I don't know the details of his case because I never saw the court judgment of it. But to me, it sounds like it's just the regime and the captured judiciary using the law to, deny the ordinary citizen their right. And in this case, yeah, he is definitely testing some of the medicine that he was good at dishing out to everybody else during his heydays in Zanu PF. The other aspect here is that he has appealed. I don't know whether you noticed that he has appealed now to the Constitutional Court. So he's
Yes,
taking
yes.
it to the next level. And
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's just taking it. I think this would be the last level. I really don't think his case has merit. I think he is just trying to fight a battle that is already lost. It's just a matter of swallow your pride and try again next time. And this time, know that you have to check back in and all that. It's quite unfortunate. It would have been interesting to see the twists and turns of how it would have gone, but in terms of the law, I think yes, our judiciary system is biased, but when it comes to Kasukuwere's appeal, I think he made the mistake and he did not do his homework properly, and somebody saw the loophole, of which we know Zanu PF is very good at looking at these loopholes, and they will hammer it. And for sure, they hammered the last nail on his coffin. So for the 2023 election, uh, this passenger will not be on board.
yeah, passenger 34 will not be on board. To me, I think it underlines another one of our biggest problem, that we are now looking at this situation where elections, we are less than a month now to voting day, and here we are. We've been talking about the failure to produce a verified voters roll, the voters being frog marched to attend Zanu PF's cell meetings, and then in preparation for being frog marched to attend to vote for Zanu PF. And now this chaotic nomination process and so forth. And meanwhile, we've not addressed at all the big issue that concerns the ordinary person, i.e., the collapsed economy. You know, unemployment is at 90%, and we have not talked about it at all. And we're not going to talk about it at all. We're going into voting, and those people will be going through the motions of voting when you're saying to yourself, these people have not been informed. And yet they're going into the election. It's ridiculous. What do you expect? There will not be any significant change.
I mean, you're looking at a situation where one has to stop. I've always said one has to stop, think and actually see, is this good for us? Are we ready for these elections? What are we going to do? What is the drive behind us even choosing a candidate? We know that the election is rigged. We know that Zanu PF is going to rig these elections, come what may. Though we are seeing blunders from the opposition, left, right, and center, but the whole system is just flawed. It's not going to be a reflection of the will of the people. It's not going to address anything. Actually, it's not going to change anything that we've experienced for this past 43 years. It's just going to be a big continuation from where we left office and continue thereafter. But my main concern is us also as citizens. We cannot want other people to discuss on our behalf. We have to think for ourselves. Are these candidates that we want to put there, are they going to bring any significant change? Is the system going to give us significant change? And the answer is no. So why are we doing it in the first place? Is it because of the excitement and the thrill of waiting to hear the announcement? I know other people, they love to hear the announcements, and there's the infighting and the losers getting laughed at and all that. It's a happy, but the reality of the matter is we will have 5 years to continue, and this will be 5 years that will be lost for our children, for the working class, for the country of Zimbabwe. It's revenue that is lost. It's the livelihood of the country. So we are, it's like, it's a fragile moment, and we have to try and salvage, the little that we have, the dignity of Zimbabwe. And this is not the way we are supposed to be going about it. I believe we are far from a democratic country. We are just drifting with no compass and with no sail. It's actually a mess right now.
Yeah, I think that the tragedy is that by allowing ourselves to go into this election, in which we are not even addressing the key issues, i.e., the economic issues, nor are we addressing the political impediments. We are going into the elections with the same faulty system, and we'll come out of it and take on to the next election the same fault system. It's ridiculous. It's just a cycle. We've been complaining, for instance, about the failure to produce a verified voters roll. No one can honestly say here that next elections will be better, because you ask yourself, oh, what have you done? What have you done to make sure the reforms will be implemented so that next time there will be a verified voters roll? Nothing. Because if we'll participate in this election to give Zanu PF legitimacy, Zanu PF is not going to implement any meaningful reform. So we can expect the next elections will be no different from these elections. So we are just carrying on. And what have we achieved? Absolutely nothing. The least we could have done would have to say, okay, we know that the economy is important. We know we need to address this problem of the economic meltdown. But we can't address it as long as we still have this problem of rigged elections, of voters being frog marched to vote. So let's address that problem then, the political problem. And the only way I think we would have addressed it would have been to say we're not participating in these elections without reforms. But some people I know would quickly say, it's too late for that now. What can we do now? What you can do now is join in the protest and denounce this process for the fast it is. Because if you denounce it now, you can denounce it after the 24th of August. Those who do not denounce it and participate cannot denounce it when the results come and the process is flawed. That is a simple, rational argument. And those who say nothing, it's assumed that you are endorsing the system. So it is imperative that people denounce this process. And by failing to do so, we are only being our own worst enemy. It's up to you, Ben. You can give in your closing remarks and then we can end the program.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I do agree with you. You know, none of even the candidates, they themselves are even talking about how they in the future they are going to address this whole program, because as it stands, I mean, the elections, I think they are an all systems go, and you know, despite everything that we are seeing, people's houses getting burned, people being frog marched, you know, it's like it's business as usual. We are getting to a situation, and that's what's scary. We are getting to a situation where we say it's normal of elections that people get beaten up. No, it's not normal. Look at what happens in other countries. Yes, people, they go and they don't go and vandalize things. They don't go and beat up other people. They don't go and for choosing a candidate. It's your choice. At the end of the day, it's your choice. You don't have to go and take away the right of somebody else's for choosing somebody that they think they believe in. That is wrong. Where is that one man, one vote that you went and fought for that you always claim? It's no longer there. And unfortunately, the ones that are sending you, they are not getting their hands dirty. You are. The ordinary people are the ones that are fighting amongst themselves and killing each other. And I think it's also pathetic on our behalf that we should be acting, you know, differently. We should know better by now that we are just being used. But unfortunately, this is the state that we find ourselves into. And unless we decide to pick ourselves out of this mud, we will always be wallowing in it. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks very much, Ben. And I think just a closing remark on passenger 34. I think there was some on the social media saying that the regime has been to his house. His so-called, well, it's not so-called, it is bulletproof house. I think now that they are on his case, I think he knows that if he was to fly into Zimbabwe, he can fly all over the world, but he can't fly into Zimbabwe or drive into Zimbabwe, because if he flew into Zimbabwe, I can rest assure him that the chances are he will not be spending the night in his bulletproof mansion, but he'll be going to Chikurubi. And it's not as comfortable as his bulletproof mansion. Let's put it that way. But he cannot blame anybody because he was one of the thugs who helped create this Zanu PF dictatorship. And that fact must be said and said loudly. We are in this mess because of people like him and his colleague, of course, Mnangagwa. It's just that he happened to have been in the faction that lost the factional war between G40 and Lacoste. But we need to end this madness of rigged elections and bad governance. And we're not ending it by participating to give the process legitimacy. That's my last word. Thanks so much, Benjamin, and good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.